Hi. So I have a confession to make. My name is Nick, and I am a book-aholic. That's right, you heard me correctly. I am a book-aholic. This addiction probably started in childhood. I always had a serious love for the written word, and my mom really encouraged us to read. In fact, we were allowed to extend our bedtime by an hour as long as we were reading in bed. That was the rule in our house. So that, of course, just encouraged it even more. And we always made like really frequent visits to the library with my mom, and we each had our own library cards. And that's probably what started my addiction to the written word. And for a lot of years, this, of course, was not a problem because I had more time and I basically devour books, meaning that I read quickly. And so when I'm on a big reading spree, it's not, unusual for me to go through a book in a day or two. This collection of books that I had built up was, very logical at the time. Then somewhere along the line, something shifts. I think it's called adulthood and working full time and running your own business, where the time that you get to read starts to become less and less. And of course, we also spend, I'm sure I'm not alone, too much time on the computer, doing work or just, watching YouTube or on Facebook or wherever you end up, going over and over again and not realizing that you've wasted as much time as you have. And so over the last couple of years, I've noticed that the books in my house are building, but I'm not actually finishing them. I'm not finishing reading them. I mean, I'm still reading, but I'm not reading anywhere near what I used to. So I think that I have come to a decision about this. I have admitted that I have a book problem. I just counted before I made this video. And in my apartment, which is a small one-bedroom apartment that I share with my boyfriend and my cat, so there's not tons of space, I have 75 books that I have not read. Just sitting here in my house, waiting for me to read them. That's not including library books, which I have 3 of right now. That's just actually pretty small for me. And also the books that I want to reread, that I've read that I want to reread. So clearly this is a problem. So I've come to a decision. I'm going to detox myself of new books. That's right. I'm vowing as of today, no new books will enter this house until a year from today. 1 year. Now, I'm going to put some stipulations on that just so that you don't all think I'm totally crazy. I'm allowed to borrow books from the library or friends. I am allowed to buy books if someone has given me a gift certificate to a bookstore. And I'm allowed to buy books that are necessary for what I do for a living. And that should only be 1, as far as I know, in the next year. I am going to take another teacher training course in the summer, and there is 1 textbook that I have not purchased yet that I need to have for that course. But other than those things, no new books for 1 year. Now it's public, and I have to stick to it. That being said, again, the only exceptions are gifted books. So people, if they give me books, if they give me gift cards to buy books for my birthday or, whatever, or if I'm borrowing books from the library or friends, those are all allowed. And my 1 textbook, but other than that, no new books for a year. So the goal being to actually finish reading all of the books that are on my list in my house, the 75, before I start bringing new books in and deciding which ones of those books I need to keep and which ones could maybe go to the used bookstore because I'll probably never reread them. So the inspiration for this actually was, there's a YouTube channel, and I'll put a link down below in the Dropbox. There's a girl who I've subscribed to, and she's, what's her channel called? It's called Living Fly on a Dime. And she gave herself a challenge of a year, but it wasn't books. It was thrifting only. So she was only allowing herself thrifted clothing for a whole year. And she had the same exceptions that I did. She had, unless it's a gift card. And she also had, she's allowed to buy underwear, which, yeah, clearly we don't want to be buying secondhand underwear. And she said the hardest part for her was going to be shoes. And as I was watching her video, I thought, I could totally not buy clothes that weren't thrifted for a year. In fact, I could probably not buy clothes for a year and almost stick to that, unless something wore out completely. I was like, well, that's not hard. But then I started thinking, but what would be hard for me? And so for me, books. I have a serious love of the books. I like collecting them, I like looking at them, I like touching them, I like taking them into my bag with me, on the bus, in the bathtub, everywhere. So, there's my commitment for a year. No new books, other than the stipulations which I just went over, which I'm not going to do again. And I challenge you, if it's not books, maybe books aren't your poison, find out what your poison is. Shoes, perhaps? Clothing? Video games? Who knows? So what's your thing that you know you have too much of, but you continue to buy, even though you haven't really used the stuff that you have? And if you're up for the challenge, I dare you to go for a year without buying that one thing, whatever your particular poison is. So let me know if you're going to do it. Either post it as a video response or, just drop me a message or a comment or something and let me know what your thing is if you're going to be able to do it for a year. Wish me luck. No books for a year. Ciao.